Dares to stand against Tirnoch? Strike him down and salt the earth of his grave. Nothing may live, lest Tirnoch commands it. Mortals are born to die. In Tirnoch's name, we must lead them to their fate. Tirnoch's name, we must lead them to their fate. Mortals are born to die. In Tirnoch's name, we must lead them to their fate. Your arrogance is but a flickering candle before the whirlwind of Tirnoch. Try as you might, struggle as you will, you are deluded. There is no winning for you, only death. Yes, but death as you define it means little to us. The great cycle returns, each to offer as to offer again. And every time they do, Tirnoch gets stronger. Soon she will be born into this world. You will witness her power personally, and it will be the last thing your mortal flesh shall ever feel.
What is it? Well, I expected to see a lot of things out here in Caelid, but not the hero of Melsenshire. What brings you this far south? I am Sergeant Odai, twice decorated officer and now civilian escort. I guess you could say that I'm really working my way up the chain of command. I have allowed 2 citizens to travel within my unit, which I probably should not do. But I have a weakness for those in need. Guess it comes from my past as a healer. Oh, Brune the Bard is not so bad. I actually knew him as a kid, if you can believe that. He is a little excitable, but harmless. I cannot say the same about Alof the Hunter. Strange sort, that one. He insists on staying outside our camp. Says we stand in the way of his quarry. To each his own. No one has called me by my given name in years. I'm just Sergeant now. Been that way for a long while. I used to be a healer, but lost my gifts when the war came. Something about all the carnage, the death, it bled the magic right out of me. So I took up a sword. It was all I could do. We all need to carry our own weight in this tragedy. And mine is to fight. Oh, I never should have ended up here. My family's ship was tossed into the cliffs during a storm, and I was the only survivor. The Ancillas saved me. They raised me as one of their own. I may not be native to these lands, but they are the closest thing I've ever had to a home. Farewell. Have you met the bard, Brune? He'll have you smiling, despite everything else that's going on. Can you smell the Bolgan? Oh, Captain Ancilla will get us through this. He's seen it all.
Hail, adventurer! I am Bruin the Bard, spinner of stories, seeker of adventure. Allow me to welcome you to the Caelid Coast, haven to the wise and wicked. These brave soldiers, the finest of the Alfar armies. They escorted me all the way from Melsenshir to these verdant lands. Alas, our journey together has come to an end. But there is still adventure to be had, so join me. If not, then I bid you fair warning. Your journey shall be far less exciting without this storyteller at hand. The wonderful gentlemen and ladies of the Alfar armies have been kind enough to act as my loyal escorts, all the way from Melsenshir, and before that, Erithel. Without these good, hearty folk, I never would have survived. The voyage across the sea would have been enough to sink my spirits. Brune was the name given to me by my mother, a lovely daughter of the full moon. A skin like the glow of alabastra. Long ago, I was the court bard of Castle Gastir, the teller of tales, the spinner of stories. But when the Bolgan invaded, well, they had no need of my expertise. Lord Aaron Gastir was a very wealthy lord and a powerful landowner. I don't care to speak much more on the subject, thank you. This lush land was once the royal domain of two great Alfar families, the Ancillas and the Gastirs, the most powerful of bloodlines and the most bitter of enemies. For centuries, the two houses warred over the coast. So enamored were they with each other that they blinded themselves to the real threat. And so the Bolgan came and conquered. The houses fell before them. One might say they were toppled by their pride. Ah, yes. It has been nearly a decade since I have told tales for an audience, and I seek to reclaim that trade. These soldiers have been of no help. Fight, fight, fight. That's all they think about. So please, let me regale you with tales of the Caelid Coast. I will make sure your time is well spent, and there may even be a twist at the end. A wise question, and a fair one. As Bard of the Gastir Court, I know all the tales of the Caelid Coast, of how this great land rose and fell, and became what it is now. Allow me the pleasure of your company, and I will lead you through these luxuriant lands, spinning stories of times long since past. I had a good feeling about you. Someone who cherishes a good story. Let us proceed. The first stop on our tour begins across the bridge behind me. Alas, there is one small problem. That area is favored by our enemies. If you can clear the area of them, I will follow and join you. We must clear the spot ahead of Bolgan. It is a famous place, and they sully it with their presence and their stench. Goodbye. Hello. Excellent work. You are clearly much more proficient in the ways of war than most visitors of the Kaled Coast, even the soldiers. It would be my great pleasure. Picture it. 10 years ago, the rising sun, a lingering fog. Somewhere in the forest are screams, the cries of battle. Then, silence. It happened here upon this site. The ambush of Gorn Akri. It is here on this spot where the Bolgan drew first blood, killing Lord Erengastir, his son, and their squires during their morning ride. Let us move on, shall we? And if you don't mind, there are more beasts to attend to ahead. The Bolgan have infested the entire area around Castle Gastir, my old home. Destroy them, and I will relate the tale of the first Lord of Gastir himself. Goodbye.
The Tuatha have forced their war upon us. They eagerly cut through mortal flesh and mortal bone, and as a reminder of their butchery, they display these mortal corpses throughout the land, turning sanctity into putrescence. The bodies remain on our ground and on our gallows tree, bloated and corrupt.
Through the woods and mountainside, through the hollows and green meadow, through the summer, winter, day and night, through the hallowed halls of seasons and song, through the vengeance, pride and sorrow, echo the footfalls of the greaves of the Fey Hunter.
Hey. You do not believe in Chernobog, do you? It is a myth, right?
Hey, what are you doing out here? Caelid Coast isn't a good place for a stroll, not at all. Do I know you? You have that look. Familiar. I fought with Captain Gastier at Melsen Shear. Maybe we spent a few skirmishes together. I can't remember everything that happened. Can you? That place is sharp stone, a wall. The only way we can get a force past the House of Pride and into Alabastra is to topple Ancilla. But not even the heir to that place can get inside. I heard rumors that an advanced team had been sent in to secure it. But rumors are rumors, right? If you are interested in sharing a bed with a Bolgan, you will want to take a stroll over to Gastier. The place is as red as they come, crammed with our big one-eyed friends. We've been making good time through Cluricon. Mel Senshir was the dam, and now the river is out of control. We'll be in Alabastra soon enough. It's the last bastion in Cluricon, where we expected the Tuatha to form a stiff resistance. That hasn't happened. The castles have been overrun, but that's about it. It's been pretty quiet, actually. I've spent most of my time keeping my sword sharp and hoping to spot the southern lights. They are a magical phenomenon that occur only in the Caelid coast. Some in the Scholia Arcana believe the lights were created by Lord Gastier's personal mage, Braxis. The story claims that after the fall of Gastier, Braxis enchanted the royal fortunes, hiding them in a spell that only the most persistent adventurer would uncover. If you believe in such rot. I cannot lie, though. The lights are gorgeous. You can see them after dark, if you stand over by the old Gastier shrine on the cliffs. See you.
Let me guess, you're a treasure hunter like Ulda. Good luck.
The hunter runs. The hunter runs. Swiftly, swiftly for our lives. A mortal skirt of chain. A mesh of links forged in secret. The hunter runs. The hunter runs. In the chausses of the Fey Hunter. Hello? You have done it. You have rid the gates of the Bolgan. As promised, I have another tale to be told. The very first Eren Gastir arrived here generations ago from Mel Senshir, before the final tower was raised, when the great giants of Cluracan were but saplings. On that very first morning of his arrival, while the sun ascended the sky, Gastir scaled the heights and saw below him the great keep of the merchant Ancilla. Gastir could not bear such an intrusion on his new ancestral homeland, and swore an oath. By right of mine, and sword in hand, I will not forsake our native land. Now that you've seen Castle Gastir, we should move on to the final stop on our journey. The last thing I want to show you is near the coast, on the cliffs overlooking the sea. It's the best story yet, but again, it must be freed of Bolgan. Goodbye. Hello. There, you've cleansed this place of the Bolgan. I shall tell you the last tale, the best of the lot. Believe me, these cliffs were made for my story. I've told the tale of the first Eren Gastir, he who discovered these lands. And I've told the tale of his descendant, the last Eren Gastir, he who lost these lands. My final tale is that this last lord took a young mistress to his bed, a servant named Wilda Brandon. They had a child he refused to claim as his own. To assuage his guilt, he wrote a royal letter in which he decreed to her and the child great wealth. But rather than take that letter, she took her own life. Here, that woman was my mother. Hear me, friend. I do not have much, but I will offer you all that I have to find me that letter. The letter that broke my mother's heart. I will read it, and I will finally know if what my mother told me was true. Then I will destroy it. I want nothing to do with the Gastiers. My mother never wanted his kingdom. She only wanted his love. That letter has haunted me for 10 years. I will now be rid of it. Of him. Friends. Yes. I suppose we are friends. I'm not sure where to look for Father's letter. Father. It's strange to call him that. I would think he'd keep it near, lest such revelations be discovered. The castle. That would make some sense, wouldn't it? I'll be back at camp. Be careful. I would feel terrible if anything happened to you. I remember my father having a chest near his throne. I always assumed it was where he kept his mother's personal possessions. Goodbye.
After all this time, I'd just assumed Enadon had abandoned me, that there was no justice left in this world. But here before me stands the hero of Melsenshir, in the skin, fresh from the Baelor's blooding, and it appears my prayers have been answered. Tell me, how much goodwill do you have left, honored one? I am a captain under what is left of General Tulera's army. There are only a handful of us left after Melsenshir, but we press southward toward the Tuatha's lair. However, my quest for justice means more to me than any victory. I have left my soldiers in the capable hands of Captain Canwin. She has moved ahead without me. Yes, I remember Brune. He was kind, silly. There weren't many like him in the court. When everyone else was so grim, Brune and his heart never ceased singing. I wonder how he fares now. I grew up behind the walls of this stronghold. All my memories are of its beauty, its security. It was an ideal childhood. Those days have long since passed. When the Tuatha marched, it was Rassenon who killed my family and claimed Castle Gastir as his own. And though he may hold the castle, he will never hold its name. I have devoted my entire life to reclaiming this castle, enlisting in the army, fighting under General Tilera, and then breaking free of Melsenshire. This is my destiny. A Tuatha priest named Rassenon has captured this keep. I am sworn to destroy him, for it was he who deposed House Gastir and stole their ancestral home. For 10 long years he has lived as a lord, hiding high in the royal quarters where none can reach him. At least, not without help. You see, I am Hilared Gastir, descendant of Lord Aaron Gastir and last of my family line. This castle and all within it belong to me. My great-great-grandfather built this keep. You can still find the one stone resting where he laid it in the courtyard. We spent 4 generations in these hallowed halls. Then the Bolgan came, followed by their Tuatha masters. They killed everyone, Fae and Alfar alike. Rassenon was the worst of them. He murdered my mother and now sleeps in my family's chambers. With your help, honored one, my family will find restitution. You will be rewarded, my friend. We Gastiers have long memories of both our friends and our enemies. Come. Rassenon knows I cannot pass through his gauntlet alone, but together we can avenge Castle Gastir. The castle has been completely ransacked by the Bolgan, and debris blocks the gate into the castle. We have to go around through the dungeons. Then I will have my revenge. Believe me, it has been far too long in coming. It has stood here on the Caelid coast for centuries, a testament to the will of my ancestors. Rassenon made it a grave. Now I will make it his. Were you not told the stories as a child of Rassanon the Ravager? Rassanon the Red-Eyed? He was one of the first to give himself to Gadflow. It is my life's work to make him answer for his crimes. Old as I am, he is older. And I don't want him to die without knowing the rage of his killer. Hurry! Stick together. What do you need to know? Hurry! Stay sharp.